Hello and welcome to the Follow Salem podcast. My name is Gavin Schweiger. I'm assistant editor for Follow South Jersey, and today I have with me Dr. Michael Gorman, who is the president of the Salem Community College. Welcome on.
Thank you, and please call me Mike. I've been answering that a lot more than I've ever answered to Doc. So,
of course. So happy to have you on. It has definitely been an interesting year and an interesting year to come for the college. So, I definitely am excited to get into that. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about who you are and your role in all this. So give me kind of a picture of how you got into this role as president and what that looked like.
Well, despite my youthful good looks, I've been in this business now for 51 years. I started out as a teacher and then became an administrator and had several different roles. I retired I was about to retire after 15 years in superintendencies. And I got a call that they were looking for somebody to serve as president of the college. And I was asked to apply, and one thing led to another, and here I am. And it's my 11th year in the position. Salem County is the only place where I would do this kind of a job. And it's primarily because I've lived here since 1981. I've been a part of the county. I've worked in 3 different school districts here in the county. And it just seems like a natural flow to move into a community college role. Other side is I'm a community college graduate, Burlington, but it's still the same framework. And my kids both, my daughter graduated from here, and my son took coursework here, and I took some coursework here as well in my postdoctoral kind of work. But it's been a journey to get to this, and it's been a wonderful journey, and I got to say, this is a great place to be, and this is a great time to be here.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the community college aspect of it, because, a lot of people have their perceptions on community colleges, but as a graduate and now a president of one, maybe there are some things that you might believe or think that would kind of challenge those perceptions. So.
We fundamentally have 4 pillars that we operate with. One is affordability, the second being quality, third being empowerment, and the fourth being personalized. Everybody can do the first 3. We do the fourth one better than anybody. I'll get to that in a second. But the issue here of being affordable, we're about 1/3 the cost of going to a Rowan University or any of the state universities, and nothing particular about Rowan, but just if you look at their per credit price and ours, we're about 1/3. When you look at the quality, the schools that our graduates get to in terms of transfer, remarkable. The nursing program, the employment opportunities they get, very significant. Our GLASS program, again, we're unique in that regard, and the quality is definitely there. Empowerment is another aspect of it because education solves every problem on the planet. And the fact that we can empower people with that kind of education to make choices that take them onto a different pathway makes a world of difference. It made a difference in my life. If the community college system didn't exist back in the early 70s, I'd be driving a truck in Toledo or something right now, who knows. But the fact that it did exist, it gave me an opportunity to get my life on track and go in a direction that I needed to go. And then finally, the personalized one, and most of your audience probably won't remember this, but there was a television program called Cheers on for a number of years, and they always used to advertise it as the place where everybody knows your name. Well, that's what this place is. We're a small college, and this is where everybody knows your name. We get very attached to our students, and that makes all the difference in the world. That's why we have such a high graduation rate, best in the state.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of small nature of it, but also there is a quality there, and it's able to compete with the other community colleges and places around the state.
It's one of those things that we look at, we're proud of it, but we also know that every day is a challenge and every day we have to do better than we did yesterday. And that's kind of what makes us distinctive.
So tell me a little bit, because a lot has changed since you've become president. So tell me a little bit about kind of the beginning there. What did the school look like when you took the helm, and kind of what were you thinking? Put me in your mind back those years ago.
Well, I've been fortunate to scaffold off the work of the prior presidents, and I say that with great sincerity, because if they hadn't done the work they did, I could not have gotten to do the work that I did. I was lucky to come in here at a time when my particular skill set worked. I had very good relationships in the county. I joked about it that of the 6 high schools in the county, one of the principals I had at a student gave him a detention. Another one of them I gave him his first job. Another one worked with my wife at the time, and another one I had worked with as a colleague. So they were going to take my phone call. And just kind of getting that traction here as a member of the county made a difference. And that was the start point of it. And there's really one simple phrase that I think has changed everything. We started to say, welcome to your Salem Community College. We wanted everybody to know that they have ownership here. This is their school. I just work here. I'm the one that occupies this office for this moment in time. But we wanted everybody in the county to know that they owned this college, and we were here to serve them. And we did a lot of work in serving beyond our walls and the classrooms. One thing to serve the students who enroll and so forth, but we do a lot of other work in the county as well. And we started to carry that message a little bit more broadly, and it started to help build that network of belief. And for any of your viewers that remember Tug McGraw, he used to have the expression when he was with the Mets and then with the Phillies, but you got to believe. And that was really my mission when I first got here, was to get people to believe in the work that we were already doing and to try and get that message out. And so far, I think we've done a fairly good job of that.
So one of the things that you came in here with was the sports program had been eliminated. I think you told NJ.com that if there was a sports program, and especially if it was sponsored by the school, then that would mean that we were in a financially good place. So now, not only is there a sports program, it is currently growing. You have football and I believe volleyball.
Yes.
Coming to the school. So I guess, first of all, how did we get the sports program back? And what did that process look like?
It was not a straight line. It was very convoluted. But the issue here, and in fairness to my predecessor, had I been given the same information that she had been given, I would have made the same decision back in 2014 and stopped the athletic program. But what we did see, and I have the gift of hindsight, when we eliminated sports, we didn't just lose the athletes that were involved, we lost a number of other students. And our credibility as a county institution was diminished. People wondered, if they're cutting out sports, I wonder what the problem is over there. Joe Owen, who was with the South Jersey Times back when I first started this job, did an interview, and he basically said, how will we know when the college is doing well? He said, well, you'll know when we start an athletic program up again that we've reached a place where we think that we are financially progressing. And when we hit that, coming into 2019, we started with, we wanted to have soccer and cross country and basketball and baseball, softball. We were successful in getting basketball, men's basketball off the ground, baseball, and then the following year softball, cross country, and so forth. So it was one of those things where we could see that we were starting to get financially stable. And it was not just the athletes that came in, but we had their friends and others who just, when you have an athletic program, it sends a different message out. And for us, the message was very strong. And I've got to say, there were so many people in the county that were very grateful to hear we were bringing athletics back, that it made us reinforce that decision. It was a daring move at the time, and this board of trustees has been incredibly supportive. And we looked at the math. We had a feasibility study, and then we did it with another feasibility study that we did internally. All arrows pointed toward, yes, we could do this. And if you build it, they will come, and we did, and people are here.
Yeah, it was not only a successful build, but it has even gone further than that, would you say?
It has. We've had our ups and downs. Soccer's been tough to get off the ground. We went with men's soccer for a few years, and we haven't been able to field the team the last 2 years. Part of that is, honestly, we had international students that were coming in and kind of augmenting the program, which helped. And they have not been able to get into the country as easily as they once did. So that's a little bit of a hindrance. Basketball, we've been doing very well with men's and women's fielding teams this year. And our men's basketball team, as we are speaking right now, are ranked #1 in the nation in the community college, the 2-year school, JUCO as they like to call it. And now our baseball program is done very well, softball is done very well. And now, as you said, volleyball starts for women in September, and football starts for men, but who knows? There might be a woman that wants to play, and she'd have an opportunity.
Yeah, was it the decision to make a men's football team and a women's volleyball team, was that a deliberate equalization of the...
I would like to say so, but it's not really. In all honesty, the money that goes into volleyball versus the money that goes into football, very different. Mm-hmm. But we do surveys periodically of students, and one of the things that came up in the survey over a 3-year period was interest in volleyball. So we thought we would try it and see if indeed that dynamic did build. And evidence is that we are moving toward a team. We've already got, I think, 20 applicants for next year that want to participate in volleyball. So I would say that volleyball would have happened if football didn't. But the fact that football is coming in and volleyball at the same time, it sends a message that we are conscious of women athletes. And we want to make sure that we do everything we can to accommodate them.
So tell me a little bit about football, just going towards that, because that has definitely been the one that's making the headlines. We can touch on volleyball a little bit later too. But so how did the football program kind of get off the ground, and where do you see this heading?
Well, I doubt that we'll be playing in the big house against Michigan anytime soon. But the fact of the matter is, when we did a study of introducing football just prior to the pandemic, and we realized that, yes, we could go and introduce the sport. But then the pandemic hit and everything kind of went on the shelf. Our athletic director was not particularly enthused about doing it because he had done that at a previous school that he had worked at, and he was nearing retirement. And we needed to make sure that this would be something that spans a number of years. Jay Accorsi, who had been the coach at Rowan University for a number of years, I think 23 as the head coach, he approached me back in May saying that he had done his own analysis of junior college football and thought there was a great void to be filled in this particular region. Took his study and took the one that we had previously done. We updated numbers. We vetted this with the staff and came to the conclusion that there is a feasibility here to do this. However, certain other things had to fall into place, and we've been working on that ever since. But we made a presentation to the board in October with an advocacy for this, and then I made a formal recommendation to the board in November for the adoption or the intent to begin a football program. The board was very supportive. They asked the right questions when we were going through the steps because it is a major investment, and it does have a year 2 or year 3 positive financial yield. The revenue that comes in will exceed what our expenses are at that point in time. But we're not doing this because of the money. The real reason we're doing this is that we think that we can make a difference for a number of young people who want to continue their athletic career in football, but don't really see an opportunity to do that. They might not have the strong academic record they need to go to some of the 4-year schools and play. And they can come here and get grounded, get started. We have small classes. We do an exemplary job of moving people on to graduation. So we think that we're going to change the lives of quite a few young people.
Yeah, tell me some of the ways that you might be able to foresee. I know we don't have a crystal ball, but some of these young athletes, and like you said, maybe they'll bring their friends, maybe they'll bring other people with them. How do you see them benefiting from the football program and, by extension, the community college?
The body of, I'll call them recruits, although they've approached us more than we've approached them so far, but the overwhelming number of those that have reached out are not going to school anywhere right now and not intending to go anywhere. Football becomes the draw to bring them in. Once they get in here, we'll do the work that's necessary to keep them on track to get to a career pathway. Sports management is always one of the big sellers when they get in, but just being in the business program opens the door to a lot of other opportunities. So they may come in here to play football and pursue sports management. They end up getting an accounting degree and going on and going into businesses later on. So once we can get you in the door, we can make a difference in what happens in your pathway. We're just right now thinking in terms of what we can do for them more so than anything else. And like I said, a lot of these athletes were not pursuing anything. There's a serious imbalance in females versus males in higher education. We are a perfect example of it. We're about 70% female, 30% male. This program will bring in probably 80 young men and help us with that balance, but also it changes the dynamic of the county and the region, because now we have 80 young people who were not intending to go to college, all of a sudden are in college. And they're in college with purpose, and that makes a difference. I was very fortunate. I got to play football when I was in college, and not one of my prouder moments, but I flunked out of Lafayette College, and now the world knows, after my first 2 years. Went to a community college in Burlington from there, regained my NCAA eligibility, and went to Widener University. Football made a significant difference in my life because it gave me, again, something to hold on to. It kept me grounded, kept me aligned with my fellow athletes, and kept me on track to get that English degree and teaching certificate, and then everything else has kind of been fairy tale since then. But that's what we're looking for, change the lives of those people that are not necessarily directed today.
Do you think that your experience in Lafayette and then going to Burlington County College, like what part of your experience got you into the kind of educational leadership? Is it something where it's you're trying to give something that you might not have gotten, or?
And this sounds more egotistical than I mean it to, but every administrator I worked for, I kind of looked at and said, I can do that, or I can do that better than that person is. And I kind of gravitated toward that leadership organizational role. And when I was a teacher, I was also a football coach and a track coach, and did a number of other jobs in the school to try and move into those administrative ranks. And it worked out for me. I went from teaching to becoming an assistant principal, an athletic director, guidance director. I was a principal for 15 years, and then again, superintendent in 2 different districts for 15 years. So I think I was always meant to be an administrator because, and I say this with this is true confessions right now, but as an administrator, I have gotten to see teachers, because I would observe teachers so often. and I saw how wonderful the work was that they did. And I realized that when I look back on the work I was doing as a teacher, I wasn't anywhere near the caliber of these people that I was watching. So it made me realize that maybe the administrative side was where I belonged more so than the instructional. However, I have been teaching since then and various times here at the college, and taken what I've learned from those master teachers and been able to apply it. But yeah, it's always been moving toward this leadership role and responsibility, knowing that you can make things better.
So when it comes to being in an administrative role, you've done it in a lot of different aspects, but mostly, high school districts and now the community college. Is there anything that's remarkably different about the community college than your other roles, or?
This role is so much fun. I gotta say that. I loved being a building principal. I was at Pennsville High School for 15 years and thoroughly enjoyed that experience. I'd been an assistant principal in Woodstown for 4 years prior to that. I was a superintendent I was deputy superintendent at Votech. I was a superintendent at Glassboro Schools, and in my last 8 years in the K-12 world, I was a superintendent in Pemberton Township up in Burlington County. This role kind of takes the best of being a superintendent and the best of being a principal and makes it just a joy to come in every day and do the work. This college is the only place where I could do this job, and it is because we are so close-knit. We are really we call it the SCC family, but it is truly the SCC family. We've gone through a couple of crises in the last few years, and the way this college bonds and supports one another is just remarkable. And it's such a pleasure to be here and come in every day. And the people here are a unique collection of very caring souls. I've been in a number of different educational environments. You don't come across this kind of environment and this kind of climate very often.
Mm-hmm. When you're talking about crises, are you talking just like on a bigger scale, world?
We've had, let's look at the pandemic. Most of the collegiate community, the other community colleges, Rowan, TCNJ, the 4 years in general, when the governor ordered everybody to shut down, those colleges all needed 2 weeks to get ready to go online. We did it in a weekend. Our folks were ahead of the curve, thinking that this might be a possibility. We got out there and we made sure that our students were prepared for what we needed to do. Was it rocky? Absolutely, very rocky. But we made it, and we were able to pull everything together. We even did a drive-through graduation ceremony on the front Clinky Green here, which was really kind of a remarkable event. But the way this group coalesced to do this, another thing in the grander scheme, during the pandemic, I wasn't sure we could stay open. Mm-hmm. We were significantly pressed for funds because all of our funding was cut at we're going to the tail end of the year, our last quarter, so to speak, and we had zero money. So we really had to do some juggling and balancing and all. Excuse me. And we asked the staff to take a 10% salary reduction across the board to get us through that time. And I'm not going to pretend that anybody liked it. Nobody liked it. But everybody did it. And we ended up with giving everybody a furlough day so they could actually take a day off during each pay period, and that came to the 10%. But it demonstrated that this is an unusual place. This is the kind of place that comes together in crisis and reacts in the student interest. The other aspect of it on a more localized level was the previous academic year. Over Thanksgiving, one of our beloved professors, Howard Valentine, passed away very suddenly. Hadn't expected it, and his void has yet to be filled. He just lent so much to the college. A week later, we had our nursing director, Terry Cavello, killed in a car accident. That's when you know what the fabric of the institution really is, the way people came together, honestly in tears, but supported one another, kept us focused on what do we have to do to get our students not only through the academic year, but through the crisis that this does on a small campus. We've had a couple of other losses that, again, just characterize this place as a very, very caring environment, and proud to be associated with it, and just to watch the dynamics of it day in and day out. Can't ask for anything more.
It sounds like also even through these crises, you not only find the community here, but you're finding, I guess, paths forward. Talking about Terry Cavello, it was her goal to expand the nursing program, and that is something that you are currently looking to do. So can you tell me a little bit about Terry Cavello and how she influenced this expansion project today?
Terry was with us for 5 years as our, excuse me, she was with us for 5 years as our director of nursing, assistant dean for nursing, and she wanted to be called the chief nursing officer, which we gave her that title because she did so much with it. Our nursing program was in severe distress back when I first got here, and the gentleman that was in charge then did a great job of getting us to one level, and then he was followed by another nursing director who did a great job getting us to another level. Then Terry came in and just took us 3 more levels. She saw the possibilities of what we could provide our community in terms of healthcare, raising the awareness of health issues in the county, and just being able to put a better quality nurse in our hospitals here. And she did a wonderful job of getting us to that. And she saw that, okay, we have a great number of students that are qualified to be nurses, but we don't have the facilities to accommodate them. From that, we came up with the idea of building, making an addition to what is our nursing wing of David Al Hall to accommodate a large-scale lecture room, because right now they use the theater, which was not built for this kind of a thing. But to get a large-scale lecture room, to get 2 more labs in there, and to then be able to expand this program in a different way. Right now we are focused in a manner that pretty much brings in non-traditional students. You're going to see 25-plus-year-old students coming in to our program for the most part. But we need to get to those 18-year-olds that are aspiring nurses and so forth and give them this option. This facility will open the door to be able to do that kind of work and bring more nurses here, because the county is in desperate need of health care. It's the one profession that is growing exponentially. We need to fill that void on the local level and the regional level. And the program is doing so well that we honestly have quite a few students who qualified to get in, but we just didn't have the space for them. So we're going to expand. It's a $4.2 million project that Terry envisioned. If I don't make this a reality, she's going to come back and haunt me. I know that. So we're working toward that. And right now we have about $3.2 million secured toward that. As of this taping, we are waiting word from United States EDA, Economic Development Authority, to see if we qualify for a grant to help complete that $1 million gap that we have at the moment. And as soon as we get determination from EDA, we'll make another plea for anybody else that wants to contribute to the project, and then we'll get a shovel in the ground and get this moving forward. It is Terry's dream, but it's shared by her staff, and there's a functional reality to this that we can make a difference in this area. And our nursing program is truly an exemplar.
Mm-hmm. And who was donating to this? Who was donating the $3 million before we?
Well, part of the $2 million of that is coming from what's called Chapter 12. That's a state program for buildings and maintenance and building issues. We used the Chapter 12 program to build our glass center back in 2018-19. So we've got $2 million secured there, and then the rest of it is private donations. None of the individuals that have donated right now would like to have their name mentioned. I think that they will. I'm going to force them to have their name mentioned later on because they deserve a great deal of credit when you're donating this kind of money. But yeah, we're still trying to raise that money. If you have a check, I can take that at the end of the interview.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't.
Understand.
Yeah, it seems like there's kind of both this sentiment that people want to give to this, but also, you are getting some help from the government.
Yeah.
So, you have a diverse portfolio of people who are willing to help with this.
And the enthusiasm surrounding it is important as well. And I'm going to this is our strategic plan boiled down into the simplistic way that we can. But one of our pillars for the strategic plan is expand on community health education, expand and enhance nursing programs, prioritize wellness through basic needs and health supportive services in the county. We don't just serve the students here, we serve the county. And we do an awful lot of work with the county through our nursing program, vaccination days, health screening days, all that kind of stuff that we do. We take it very seriously. Right now, Salem County is ranked 21st of 21 counties in New Jersey in terms of health care. We want to change that, and this is part of it. And I'm anxious to get a shovel in the ground for this, and I think everybody's inspired by the work that Terry did, and we want to carry that mission forward.
Mm-hmm. So you have football, volleyball, nursing. I'm sure there are other projects that you guys are.
Well, glass is a big issue here. The glass blowing, and we have two programs. One is the scientific glass program, and then the other one is the artistic glass program. And if you come by the weekend of March 20th, we have the International Flame Working Conference coming on. We sponsored that every year. We've been doing it for 25 years now. And there will be glass blowing enthusiasts, glass blowing artists, and collectors here that weekend from all over the world. Our presenters are coming from Italy, France, and I believe Korea, as well as a few from the United States. We have people that have booked rooms at a local hotel that are coming here from Zurich. It's just amazing. Here it is, Carneys Point, New Jersey. I would say all the roads lead to Carneys Point. Turnpike 295, Route 130. It helps that we have the bridge here, but it truly will be a gathering of the elite of the glass blowing world, and there's so much to that glass program. I know about a thimble's worth of what they really do, but the scientific glass program initiated from DuPont. They gave us all the equipment and the starting point. This building we're in right now used to be part of the DuPont Country Club, and they got us started in this glass blowing profession. It has emerged, and we brought on the artistic side of it, which has really expanded the horizon for quite a few people. But anybody that you talk to that's in the glass program, they love it. You can go down there. We keep the lab open at night. We have to throw everybody out at 11 o'clock at night. If I kept it open all night, they'd be there. It's just a fascinating field. The work that they do in chemistry and physics with the scientific side of the house is mind-boggling. And when you start seeing the projects that they do in terms of the artistic glass, you wonder, how did anybody think of that, first of all, and how did they make that happen? It's just an amazing field. Paul Stankert, who is a world-renowned glass artist, his work is shown in the Louvre and I think 43 different museums around the country. He's our graduate, and he is a featured artist here, and he keeps this movement going. And but it is really very unique, very special. And if you ever have time, we'll gladly take you through the Glass Center. It's a wonderful tour.
Absolutely. There must be a lot of pride in, having this institution do the kind of things that it does, being world renowned or world known for glass. Having delegates from Zurich has got to be a point of pride in and of itself.
Yeah.
But it's a growing institution, have a lot going on. So I don't know, take me into your head for 1 second and tell me how you're feeling kind of being at the helm of this with all of this growth.
Sometimes I just think I'm staying out of everybody's way. There are quite a few people here that do the work. I am fortunate to be on a team that does this kind of thing. I think the major impetus that I've had is establishing relationships on the local level that have been productive for us, but more so been able to bring on some folks that have really made a difference in the work we do. I don't know that my role is all that significant, in all honesty. I think that the role that all these other folks have, that's where the traction really is. And they get these things done. I don't go down there and tell anybody how to run the glass program. They do that. I don't go and tell anybody how to run the nursing program. They do that. All they're asking from me is support, facilitate as much as I can to make sure that they can do the work they do. And after that, just stay out of their way and let them do what they need to do. If anything, I just make sure that everybody believes that we can do what we're out there doing. There's a reality. We are a very unique place. We get some very special things done. And the work we do on behalf of our students is unrivaled.
There's an air of collaboration, I guess, in your work and your experience, and that not only comes from within, but you mentioned collaborating with local partners and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit more about how this collaboration is working?
Very simple example, the glass program. We have a glass advisory council which is made up of people in the glass industry. And we met with them just a couple of weeks ago. We had our quarterly meeting. And they tell us what they're looking for and what we should be attending to in terms of our curriculum and adjustments we want to make. We tell them the kind of student that we're getting in. They're always here. There are more jobs in the field of glass than we have students. But working with that group is very, very dynamic. Several of the glass houses in Vineland are part of that consortia. So they help keep us on track from a labor point of view. What can we do to make sure we're filling their labor need? Camor's is right across the street in DuPont, and the Chambers works there. And really, they've taken over most of the grounds. It was DuPont at one time. And we meet with them once a month about different issues that they have going on. We just hired an individual to serve as our assistant dean for business and workforce development. That was a void in our program, and we've brought Candace Rosidi on, Dr. Candace Rosidi, and she is hit the ground running, but she's making those business alliances stronger as well. Mannington Mills is right down the road. Now, we don't do much for Mannington in terms of labor force, but they're a great colleague. When we had an issue with flooring because of a flood, Mannington came over to help out. And that's where we fit in. These partnerships are built on a handshake and an ongoing faith in one another that we'll do right by everybody. And those are the things we look for. We have a number of business alliances, but the biggest thing that we have is credibility and the fact that people know we're here to stay.
Where do you see yourself going kind of in the future with this college and well, maybe after this college?
This is my last job. This is the last W-2 I'm ever going to get. I'm gray enough that I can start looking at the retirement. But I look at myself getting involved in more community efforts as I reach retirement, which is not that far away. I haven't decided on anything yet, but I'm sure people are out there saying, okay, the over-under is he's going to go in whatever year. But like I said, this is my 51st year in education, and I know retirement's on the horizon, both for my benefit as well as the institutions, because at some point in time, there needs to be a new set of eyes that look at where we are and what we're doing. I look at, okay, my future is how do I make sure that the initiatives that we have in place are not Mike Gorman initiatives, but they are Salem Community College initiatives. That at a point in time, they say, Mike who? And they forget who I was, but the things that we started here keep going. Because that's really the responsibility that I carry into these next few years. As far as what I'll do after I do retire, there are several community initiatives that I'd really like to be engaged with at a deeper level, but right now I don't really have that kind of time. I always joke with people, I only work half days, 8 to 8. And this job is a rather consuming endeavor. So there are some other things I'd like to get involved in that I have to kind of put on the back burner at the moment. But how can you ever think of retirement when you have this much fun every day?
Of course. Well, I'm going to make you think about it just a little bit and dive deeper into, what are those community involvement projects that you're looking to get into?
I'd really like to be able to get involved in upgrading our overall educational system for the county. It's a great place to be and a great place to raise kids and so forth. And what can we do to make it more appealing to the outside world to be coming into the area? And how do we stabilize some things? How do we build some more cooperative relationships and so forth? Another venture that I am trying to get involved in more deeply is homelessness is a crisis everywhere, and we're no exception. If I can get involved in some projects that help curb homelessness or help people in that regard. And I've been around a long time. If I can help mentor anybody in the profession along the way, I'd be more than happy to. Sometimes I can tell them what not to do much more easily than I can tell them what to do. But wherever I can lend a hand, I'd like to be able to do that.
So definitely not sitting on a beach or playing golf. You're
no,
still
but
here.
I'll get some time to ride my motorcycle some different places.
There you go.
That's a goal.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say you want to keep being involved in education, and even with your planned work with homelessness, you want to educate and be a mentor. What is it to you that has kept you or is alluring to you in this career, in this life of working in education?
I joke with people, I am working on a book. It's not, I am and I am not, but I'm working on a book that I want to have titled The Terribly Important People and Terribly Unimportant Life of Mike Gorman. And there are so many people that have served as mentors, guides, just inspiring folks that have given me that gift of their knowledge and their perspective and so forth. I don't consider what I could pass on to be the gift, but I'd hope that I could ask people the questions that they need to hear in order to figure out where they are going and so forth. But I have a firm belief that education solves every problem. And the more that we can educate ourselves and those around us, the more problems we solve. That's kind of been foundational in my career, that education will solve every problem.
What is one aspect of education that you would change tomorrow if you had a magic wand?
I would probably want, not probably, I know I would want us to look at learning more than education. We talk about education and that becomes a field, almost a classification. whereas learning is an activity. Learning is a verb. It is something that we're going to do. I've always looked at the fact that I'm in the learning business. We call it education because that's what people identify. But I am in the learning business, and the more I can help people learn, the more I will learn. And if I stop learning, I better retire and get out of here and go home and watch TV.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
Been my privilege. Thank you.